Today, I'm at the American Museum of Science and Energy here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which tells the history of how the atomic bomb was created to end World War II. But shh, we're not supposed to know about it until 1945. That's coming up next. Oak Ridge was a secret town in East Tennessee that was created by the U.S. government in World War II to produce the materials needed for building the atomic bomb. The site was chosen because of its distance from ocean coasts, its proximity to major metropolitan centers for both transportation and workforce, and how the natural geography of hills and valleys hid covert activity quite well. No cameras were allowed, and everyone did their job on a need-to-know basis. You couldn't talk to anyone about what you were doing, or you were fired instantly. Stringent security and checkpoints ensured that nothing happened that shouldn't happen. The magnitude of this construction project was mind-boggling. Originally, plans for Oak Ridge called to house 13,000 people. Oak Ridge grew to a peak of 75,000 people. Resentment was inevitable. Oak Ridgers seemed to be able to get anything they wanted during a time of rationing and shortages. Trains brought a daily load of goods from building and plumbing and electrical supplies to cement, beer, and light bulbs to supply a city that grew to 75,000. Outsiders said that tons and tons of stuff goes in and nothing ever comes out. The X-10 graphite reactor, based on the Chicago design, was the first plant to be built at Oak Ridge. The reactor eradicated uranium to produce highly fissionable plutonium, which was then extracted using bismuth phosphate. Once the effectiveness of the design was proven, DuPont built 3 more graphite reactors in Hanford in Washington for later large-scale production. When construction began on the Clinton Engineer Works, there was still no certain way of refining uranium to the point where it could be exploded in a bomb or processed into more than microscopic quantities of plutonium. The Chicago team had proven that a graphite reactor would work, but could it be applied on an industrial scale? General Groves took the bold gamble of building 4 production plants, each one dedicated to a different method of refining uranium into weapons-grade material. Incredibly, the labs at Oak Ridge, based on brand new and still untried theories and manned by thousands of workers with no idea of the purpose of their work, not only succeeded, but changed the world. The Y-12 electromagnetic separation plant was first constructed starting in February 1943, and the plant made its first shipment of uranium-235 to Los Alamos about a year later. Y-12 used nearly 1,200 calutrons arranged in oval rings called racetracks to vaporize uranium and separate the atoms with magnetic fields. The giant magnets were so powerful that machines weighing several tons had to be welded to the floor to stop them from shifting. When the alpha calutrons proved successful, beta calutrons were created to further refine the enriched product. Y-12 produced most of the uranium used in the Little Boy bomb. For the plutonium production plants, the federal government bought the towns of Richmond, White Bluffs, and Hanford, Washington, and the surrounding farmland, a total of 670 square miles, to build Site W, the Hanford Engineering Works. Built in the arid plains along the Columbia River, The Hanford site hosted 3 graphite reactors based on the X-10. The reactors eradicated uranium to produce the plutonium, which was then separated from uranium in vast chemical plants called Queen Marys due to their size and shape. The radiation was so intense that the whole operation was carried out by remote control. Robert Oppenheimer, head of the Manhattan Project Scientific Division, had vacationed in the desert near Los Alamos, New Mexico, and thought the area perfect for bomb design, assembly, and testing. A boarding school on a remote mesa was bought by the government, and the University of California was contracted to operate site-wide. While Oak Ridge and Hanford were factory towns, Los Alamos was the think tank where the best and brightest worked under Oppenheimer's inspiring leadership to turn theory into a practical device. Los Alamos scientists worked up until the last minute to prepare the gadget for its test run, working till the last moment and filling irregular seams with tissue and scotch tape. The components were transported to the desert near Alamogordo, New Mexico, assembled in the MacDonald Ranch House and hoisted to the top of a 100-foot tower. Tensions ran high as storms threatened to scuttle the test. Finally, there was a break in the weather, and Groves, Oppenheimer, and other observers gathered in a bunker about 5.5 miles away. As the countdown commenced, the question hung in the air: would it work? At 5:29 a.m., the world's first atomic bomb lit the sky with a brilliance greater than the sun, producing oven-like heat at the observation bunker, and a shockwave felt over 100 miles away. The fireball formed the now familiar mushroom cloud, which rose to 7.5 miles and punched a hole in the clouds. Test director Kenneth Bainbridge called it a foul and awesome display. 4 hours later, the USS Indianapolis set sail for Tinian Island, with Little Boy in its hold. News of the bombing stunned the world. Jubilation gripped Clinton Engineering Works workers as they learned that their secret work had struck a decisive blow in history's bloodiest war. The grim sequel to the Hiroshima strike came 3 days later on August 9. With no Japanese surrender forthcoming, the 509th headed for Nagasaki. Aside from the port, Nagasaki's military significance lay that in the Mitsubishi torpedo factory, whose products had destroyed Pearl Harbor. At 11:02 a.m., the B-29 bomber boxcar took advantage of a break in the cloud cover to release the 10,200-pound plutonium implosion bomb Fat Man, which burst about 1,600 feet over the city. The effect was similar to that in Hiroshima, though spread over a lesser area as the surrounding hills contained the explosion somewhat. When the devastating effects of the American bombs became clear and the Allies promising a third strike, the Japanese military finally capitulated to the terms of the Potsdam Declaration. At noon on August 15th, Emperor Hirohito spoke to his subjects for the first time to announce surrender, and World War II finally ended. The news of surrender was met with widespread jubilation across the Allied countries, and the surrender was formalized aboard the battleship USS Missouri on September 2nd. In August 1947, the Manhattan Project disbanded and operations transferred to a new Atomic Energy Commission. On March 19, 1949, Oak Ridge opened to the public, and area residents got a look inside at the now world-famous Secret City. A parade was held, and a ribbon was cut by igniting a strip of magnesium with electricity from X10. On the same day, the American Museum of Atomic Energy opened in a former cafeteria on Jefferson Circle.
Well, I think that's about it. I hope you really enjoyed seeing this video of the history section of the American Museum of Science and Energy here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. If you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/tnphotobug, because each and every week I post new videos of me visiting history museums and national parks. I know you won't miss out on any of that. Until next time, this is History Buff TN Photobug signing out, and I am indeed having a blast with the past.
I'm on the air.